Good morning, Coolest Coast. It is time for coffee with Kristin and Tina. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Kristin and Tina. This is Kristin Odell. I'm Tina Prigge. So good to see you this morning.
Good morning. Hi.
Hi. Kristin, even when we're not on the show, you have these continued subtle influences on my life where
Mm.
you pop up or I'm thinking of you. And so, as part of the Women's Summit, there was a goodie bag, right? And in the goodie bag, there were these zippered pouches. And I hung on to it because I liked the message, you are worthy. And yesterday, I went to aquatic therapy and I had created like a little toiletries kit, right? There's a comb and some cream and lip balm, right? And when I opened it yesterday to use it, I found this little note from you, and I'm like,
Oh,
ah,
I love that. Yeah, I chose to purchase those bags through my business as like a little sponsorship goodie for the summit. But I do love the sayings on them. So let me see. I think I have some here. Like, they're so cute and they were all a little bit different. So you are worthy. Some people had, you're never alone. You're amazing. You are beautiful. You are loved. Look at this. I have all these different ones. You are enough. So if you need inspiration today, you can just pick any one of those things because they're all true about you.
what a positive inspiration you just shared with us this morning.
I love
And it kind of reminds me a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about like how Doug had left you a note on the mirror and how that just fills you up, right? And just getting that little card, which I hadn't noticed before. And especially when I was out doing something that was hard, but also good for me to like just get that little boost of reassurance was really cool.
that. I love that you found the little business card too yesterday. That's so cute.
Hey, so I know that you've got some good news. Let me put this up and
Do
tell me about Grace's achievement.
Yeah, so this is our oldest daughter, Grace, and we had the pleasure of visiting the Raw West Museum on Sunday, which was the last day of the Manitowoc Public Art Show. But she was selected for outstanding achievement for an art piece she did. Yeah, this is her pencil drawing. Isn't it cool?
Wow. Okay, is it like was she looking at an image or is this from her mind? What's her process?
So this last summer, we took our camper out to Maine and we did this really long road trip with our camper. And this lighthouse is in Maine. And of course, I'm not going to have the name of it right now, but it's like the most photographed lighthouse in the United States.
Wow.
And so the orientation of the lighthouse with the building here, I don't think is like perfectly accurate, but that was her inspiration for this drawing.
And I have to say, it is an artist's prerogative to move things around, right? What you see represented is an artist's interpretation. It doesn't have to be to like, you know, Nat's ass, like exactly what's out there in the world. So bravo, Grace. Wow.
We knew she was selected, like that piece was selected, and we had seen it before. But when we got there, she had three other pieces in the show also besides that. She had two pottery pieces and another like tile. So I want to encourage people to go to those displays because they are full of color and it's bright and beautiful. And it is really neat to just see how many talented kiddos we have in our community.
Yeah. It's amazing that she had so many pieces selected. That's really high
Yeah.
praise.
Isn't that cool? So the MPSD show ended at the end of March. I believe Lutheran and Roncalli are on display now through the month of April. And then a number of the rural community schools, so think Valders, Reedsville, like some of those, their art will be on display in May. So you're not too late. Like you can still go take this in. I think we may go back and just walk through it again. But we just so enjoyed walking through the Raw West on Sunday. And of course, we like toured the house again because the collection has changed over in some of the rooms and just it's neat. It's just a good reminder of like this super historic thing building that's in our community.
Right. It's one of those great assets that we're fortunate to have, and not every community does. By the way, Mary Hamachek, who herself is an artist, said about Grace's work, that's amazing, such talent. So that is high praise. She goes on to say, love seeing the young people in our community expressing their art.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's so I think one of my favorite things that we saw is there was an elementary school project. I think it was for 5th grade. They had to do a self-portrait, but in the theme of Tim Burton. So like think Corpse Bride,
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, they were so cool. Like, the girls were just like, "Oh my gosh, look at this one. Oh my gosh, look at this one." So
So taking the girls to see the show, they appreciated it as well.
oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, just it's just neat to just take it all in, and so go support these other schools coming up. Go take a tour of the Raw West if you haven't been there. It's free. I mean, it's just for a donation. Like, what an incredible thing to do with your family. That costs nothing.
Are the pieces of art for sale? Like, if you see a
They're
piece of art, they're not, okay.
No, they're not. But in the past, we've picked up frames and put those art pieces up in our house because it's kind of neat to keep them around. And
Well, especially when it's an award winner, look at how great that ribbon looks.
I know, right?
Okay, so then was this part of the event?
It is. And this is one of like 4 or 5 framed things that are hanging and you can take a picture. Nora was the only one that was playing around with me, clearly, but didn't she nail the
I
face?
was just gonna say that she totally nailed it.
Yeah, I love it. She just like settled her little face right into that thing and then boom, right into character.
So was she familiar with the original Monk painting, or did you have to tell her what to do?
No, I did not tell her what to do. She must have seen it somewhere. I don't know how. That's actually a great question. Like, how did she know to do that? I don't know. She
Yeah.
is our little character actress, though, so maybe it's just innate to her to, you know, do
Yeah,
stuff.
she totally nailed it. I love it. Well, they are living their best lives. And, speaking of living your best life, check out this photo that my mom snapped. This guy's driving around Manitowoc, top down, like the Mandalorian.
I love this. I love that she got it. I was going to say on film. You know what I mean? I don't, however, think he's driving around today like that.
Ah, today. Oh my God, today is a mess. I don't even know how to process what's happening outside.
Isn't it so gross?
If you were going to have a soundtrack for today, like what music would be appropriate?
Oh, something dreary and death-like. I don't know. What do you think? What
Yeah, Jason turned on Pink Floyd Have a Cigar earlier, like when I was about to come in here. I'm like, okay, that is perfect for today.
Yeah, it's gotta be something moody. I mean, I also feel like it could be like a Marvin Gaye type of day,
Ooh,
right?
sure. Yeah.
So it just depends what your mood is, what you wanna get into.
Okay, viewers, what do you think? What kind of music would you if you were the DJ of the day, which you are the DJ of your own day, what sort of music would you pair with this?
Yeah. Now in town, when I was driving around this morning, the roads were wet, but Doug took the girls to school and he said west of here, it's really slippery. So if you are on the roads, kind of traveling around the county or hopping on the interstate, make sure you're being careful because it's yucky.
Yeah,
It's
it's
gonna
not
be
worth
yucky
it.
all day, I think.
It's worth slowing down. I always tell our son, drive the conditions, not the posted speed limit, right? So if it says
Uh,
70, but that's not say, it's okay to go 25.
yeah. Does he listen to his mom?
In theory.
Tina, what does your shirt say?
Oh, it says, what does it say? One kind, all kind, be kind, humankind.
Cute. I love, again, kudos to the variety of shirts that you have. I think that's so cool.
Thanks. This one came from my mom. So thanks, mom, for picking that out.
Way to go, Miss Diane. We love you.
Hey, following up on our conversation recently about you'd shared a story about being a kid and taking a deck of Chippendales cards to school for show and tell, which I think is hilarious. I keep thinking about that. But you followed up with me offline and you said you went to Amazon to see if something like that was still available. And the only thing you could come up with was the little cartoon characters of Chippendales, like Christmas and stuff.
That's right. Now, full disclosure, I did not search hard for this. I don't need these type of things in my search history or, popping up in my feed. Oh, organ playing. There we go,
Excellent.
Susie. Yeah. I didn't search hard. Now that prompted a lot of conversations at home for a couple of reasons. One, my mom confirmed that they were not naked; they were all clothed.
Oh, okay.
And two, Doug had never heard this story before, so he came home from work. 'Cause a lot of times he will listen to our show in the vehicle driving home, and he listened to it on the way, and he's like, "I have never heard this story, but this is fabulous." So thanks, mom, for prompting some good conversation.
So what did he think? If Doug had to play cribbage using that deck of cards, might it be a distraction?
I don't think he would play with them. I think he would be like, "We're not playing with these cards."
Yeah,
Kind of like what you
good
said, right?
call, good
Yeah,
call.
yeah, we're not doing this. The male version or the female version, I think it would be like, "No, we're not doing this."
It seems like as a society, we've kind of evolved beyond that, haven't we? Like,
I
needing
don't know, I
pinup
think some
cards.
people I mean, I think for some people, things like pornography can be a real addiction, and it can be a real thing that's very unhealthy, right? And
Right.
clearly there is, like, child crime and child pornography is an issue globally. So, I don't want to ever sit in a space where, like, we've grown out of it because clearly that's not the case for all people. Like, I feel like the people that I interact with, yeah, I feel like that's the case, but I know that this is a real issue. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does, and I guess the role we can play is by not objectifying others then, too, by using stuff like that.
Yes. And I think in some cases, like, showing people what healthy coping mechanisms are, like, again, if we're leaning in and using those things to, try to overcome or resolve another issue, like, that doesn't work. So, yeah.
Jason had said, "Every day is a beautiful day, whether the sun is shining or not." Mary said, "I agree 100%."
Yeah, what a gift, right? So listen, you guys woke up today. We really haven't talked about it on the show, but Jason was running for mayor. It's the day after. It's all behind you. How do you feel this morning?
I actually feel really good. So, okay, yesterday, first of all, yesterday was a huge, like, moment of respect. Like, as a wife, I got to roll into the polls and there was my husband's name on the ballot, right? Like, knowing that he had put himself on the line, stepped forward, and, you know, gone through the whole tumbler of what an election is like,
Right.
just like deepest respect. And because it's something that people had asked him to do for a decade, that we had talked about. And just now the timing seemed right. So, but surprisingly, it's a sense of relief for sure that the whole election cycle is over.
Mhm.
But it's also kind of, I think, a relief that now he can move on with his life.
Yes, like, now you know.
Yeah. And he was very, level-headed, and I felt like his approach was so smart. He knew it was 50-50. One guy had to win and one guy had to lose, and so
Yeah.
he knew it wasn't gonna make or break his life either way. And so
Right.
I'm just really proud of how he did the whole thing.
Well, and I think, like, you throw yourself into something completely, and so you get to a day like yesterday, which I there's irony to me in that the election day was April 1st. It
I know, I know.
just feels funny on a lot of levels, right? Yeah, Mary said, "I'm proud of him for running. I think it takes courage and determination. So proud to be able to, like, 100%." And there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people don't run for political office because it's really difficult and it takes in a tremendous amount of work, right? And so you get to yesterday and it's like, I've done everything I feel like I can do. And now it's just up to the voters, right?
Yeah, I'm really grateful for the number of people that came out in support of him, that showed support, that sent messages of encouragement. There's some really beautiful people in this community.
There is. There absolutely is. So, Tina, you've worked for the mayor's office in the past, but now you were kind of on the flip side. What did you learn about just the election cycle and how it works different than maybe what you knew as an employee on the other side of things?
Well, to put yourself forward to be in an election really takes chutzpah, right? Like, you have to be strong
Yeah.
because it's not easy. Um, I didn't realize how many sleepless nights would be involved with an election,
Mm,
right? And
yes.
so, like, last night, I was so happy to see that Jason slept the whole night through.
Oh, great. Yeah, and I mean, as a wife, I just know from experience, like, if one partner is not sleeping, the other partner is not typically sleeping well, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
some tossing and turning, or you hear that person rummaging around or doing something. So, like, what an amazing thing for him to be able to have a restful night, and then wake up today ready to carry forward. So, kudos to you, Jason. It's not easy.
I
Um,
I
Go ahead.
just, I'm sorry, I didn't wanna interrupt you, but I did snap this picture, right? Because it was just such a cool moment. But it's also because I was using, the electronic voting system, which I'd never used before. And I just wanted to say kudos to the poll workers. So our polling location, sorry, is, the Methodist church. literally just right up the block from here.
Sure.
And they saw me roll in my wheelchair, and they immediately like jumped into action. They're like, okay. They grabbed me and like rolled me right to where to go. They said, this is the express. They walked me through how to use it. It was so smooth. And I was just really grateful for that.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing that. I actually noticed I drove back and forth across town a number of times yesterday between work and running kiddos. There was a location on Dewey Street that said barrier free voting. And I was like, hey, now I think a lot of the buildings probably are barrier free, but I was like, just, again, sometimes I think through Tina brain. And I was like, oh,
Agreed.
look at how cool is that, right?
Yeah. You know, it's kind of funny. It was also just really cool, right, to like see signs and things around town. And so last night, our son was like, "Hey, Dad, are you going to run again? Otherwise, could you save the signs for me?" So I kind of love the thought that, um, no matter how it went, that our son got to observe this process, and it's already got him thinking that maybe public service is something he could devote himself to.
Maybe Tina Prigge could run for office.
We do need a female mayor.
I don't know. The moral of this story is keep the signs. What do you have to lose? Okay, Mary Hamachek wants to know how hoopspa is spelled.
Uh, Chutzpah. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what that says. Chutzpah. Mary, I think it starts with a CH. I think it's like CHUPTZA.
Is that
Put put
that
that into Google.
sounds like a Jewish phrase?
Probably. Probably.
I love it.
Yeah. Susie said, yes, go Tina. Aw. What have you started here, Kristen? Mary said, you definitely have my vote, Tina.
You know,
Becky said, love that thought.
I
Keep the
know. The
signs.
best part about this is I don't there, Cindy gave you the spelling. Thank you.
Cindy, thank you. Chutzpah.
Cindy, can you provide us with the origin of that word, please? I think it's like this is just like a fun conversation because I live outside the city limits. I don't actually vote on the mayor position at all. Um, but it is just fun to see how the community ebbs and flows with these elections, right? So even school board or the referendum are just like it's just always interesting to see it. And one of the things Doug and I we had a very romantic date. We ran to Walgreens and back last night. Um, but we just talked about how cool it is that like when we get to exercise our right to vote, when we choose to vote on these local things and state level things, like your vote can have so much more impact because it's just happening right here in our communities, right? And I said to somebody yesterday, and like it was just like right after school. I'm like, I need to go home because I need to go through and study the school board candidates one more time. And they seemed surprised. And I was like, I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing and I want to be an educated voter. And I'm not going to just go in there and pick names based on how many signs I saw. I'm going to go in and like look at these candidates and make a decision. And I think it's just really cool that we can go through and exercise our right to do that and that it impacts so many different places.
That's so enlightened and a really, smart way to exercise your vote, right? Democracy is so important, but it's also terrifying if somebody's just going to go and willy nilly
Right.
approve something without knowing what they're approving. I
Right.
was talking to my son because he's a first time voter.
Hmm.
And I said, if you go in and you see there's a name and maybe they're the only person that's running for a position, but if you don't know them or know anything about them, you don't have to give them your support. You don't have to fill in that little circle. You could write somebody else's name in, you could just leave it blank. But yeah, there's like power in that when you check somebody's name, you're like saying, yep, I agree with you. Yes, I want you to represent me.
Right. Right. So just again, I think it's important to be educated and thoughtful about what you're doing and really like study what issues do certain people represent because it's your opportunity. It's your, once a year or twice a year opportunity to go and rock your vote.
Rock your vote. And I know sometimes people think that, oh, so many other people are voting. I don't really need to get out there. But especially in a smaller community, every vote counts, every number. Some elections were decided by really small margins.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. So kudos. Welcome. I'm happy for you that you get to sit in a place of peace today and
Thank
well
you.
rested.
Hey, Cindy. All right. Cindy said chutzpah, Yiddish. It's a Yiddish word meaning audacity, gall, or insolence, often used to describe someone who is brazenly confident or bold.
Wow. Did you use it in the right context? I can't even remember now.
Well, I said a person has to have chutzpah to run, and so you really have to have like that the backbone or the audacity. I wouldn't say it's
100%.
insolence, but
Yes. I mean, you have to be gritty. You've got to have confidence to be able to do this and like thick skin.
yeah. Thanks,
Thank you.
Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy, for giving us the definition. And thank you, Tina, for always giving us new, insightful words that I'm like, I don't even know how she knows this word, but I'm very happy that I get to be her friend and she teaches me.
I was reading a book yesterday, and I think I had to look up 3 different words. I'm like, "I don't know what this means." One of the words was used a couple of times, alacrity, and I wasn't sure what the definition of alacrity was.
I don't know what it is either. Can you use it in a sentence?
Like, she performed those duties with alacrity.
Does that mean like,
It's, like, cheerful, like a
oh,
it's like
interesting.
a positive, which the way it sounds doesn't it sounds like acidity or something to me when I hear it. Like, the
Yeah.
word doesn't mean what I would expect it to
I
mean.
was thinking precision or like excellence, but not positivity.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well,
Cheerful.
so Cindy, if you still have your dictionary open, look up alacrity and tell us what the definition was. But yeah, because when I looked it up, I'm like, "Oh, that's surprising."
Yeah. So Tina, I know we have like been catching every yours up on all the things, but like, do you still drink coffee in the morning? Oh, you have your Japan
Mm,
Starbucks cup.
yeah.
Do you drink it any different or are you drinking it the same?
My coffee? Oh, it's the same. Well, oh, you know what? One change I've made to my morning coffee is I add a scoop of collagen powder.
Ooh,
So, and the reason I do that is A, I'm getting older, and collagen is one of the things that our body doesn't make as we grow older, but it's like important for the elasticity of our skin, hair growth, all of that. But also because of everything I went through, all the surgeries and the trauma and the medicines, I was starting to lose my hair. Like it was kind of falling out in alarming rates. And I was like, ah. And so talking to my doctor and doing some research, collagen is one of the things that was supposed to help reverse that.
wow.
And it has. So in case anyone else is having any experience like that.
That I was going to ask you if you've noticed a difference because I've tried collagen. I didn't feel like it really felt made me feel different, but again, my body is not trying to heal or do other things. Like your every bit of extra energy, nutrition, whatever had to go to other parts of your body. So it makes total sense to me that your hair would fall out.
I know. And it was alarming. I was like, "Oh god, not this too," right? Like A two brute, like can't I have anything nice?
Is enough. Oh, collagen. Okay, and I'm guessing that's flavorless.
It's flavorless and it dissolves in liquid, and I found that it dissolves best in hot liquid.
Mm,
And since I'm drinking the coffee anyway, I'm like, perfect.
I love that. I do know a lot of other women, aging women, who use collagen or either take it straight. Some of it's flavored. But kudos to you. I love that.
Thanks. I've seen it available too in like, um, like pill forms and things like that.
Yeah.
But this was just, it's just a scoop of powder, and that's what works for me.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Cindy says alacrity, cheerful readiness, briskness, liveliness.
Wow. I feel like this word is you embodied in a word.
Thank you. But the definition doesn't connect with the word itself.
Alacrity. That is very interesting.
Thanks,
Lively,
Cindy.
liveliness. Wow.
Cheerful readiness. I mean, I love it, right?
I know.
All
Um,
right. So your goal today is to use alacrity in a sentence or a conversation at least once.
you mean I
Viewers, you too. Viewers, you too. Let us know if that
can
works.
use poop spa in a can I choose?
Can you use both?
Ooh.
Bonus
Now you're
points if you use both.
can you
Oh, Angela said, I had a similar experience with collagen. I had an episode with blood clots in my lungs and I lost a lot of hair. Collagen powder helps.
wow.
Angela, that's so good to know.
Look it, you've got some fangirls. Isn't this cool? Like these are the kinds of things that I feel like does people don't talk about until they have an opportunity where there's this audience of people that are like, me too, me too. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally normal,
Right. Right.
right? Or like, oh, other people are struggling with this. What a gift.
And there's serious value in sharing this kind of information that you otherwise might not know.
100%. Okay, so you've now had swimming week 2. What did you do in week 2 of swimming that you didn't do last week?
Hold on one second. Mary said, "What would you recommend for collagen?" Mary, I can snap a picture and share it with you after. What I'm using is called, it's by Great Lakes. And honestly, it was a good price. And I love the Great Lakes. So the name just kind of resonated with me. I found it on Amazon and it comes in like a tall container with the scoop included.
There we go. Mary, I might also recommend if you have like an annual physical or something coming up to talk to your doctor just to make sure that, that's a good addition for you. And maybe they would also have a recommendation based on what they know about your medical history.
That's really good advice. And yeah, Mary, there was another suggestion that my doctor had given me, and it was, mm, I can't think of what it's called now, but it was like in pill form. And yeah, the price was like outrageous. I thought this is just not sustainable.
Yes. Yes. Although I'm glad your hair is coming back. Like
Thank
that's
you. Thank you.
would
Right.
you pay the extra amount of money to keep your hair? Would you budget or spend differently to take that supplement to keep your hair?
Yes, but I feel like if you do your research, you don't have to buy the expensive one.
Yeah.
Like you don't necessarily need the high end branding or, you don't need a product that's preying on your insecurities or desperation,
Oh,
right?
that's such a good thing.
You just need a product that does what it's gonna do.
Right. I supplement was recently recommended to be from my nutritionist, and we went on Amazon also, and I found this like non-GMO flavorless version that we can just throw in our shakes, and it was so reasonably priced, and it made my heart happy because I'm like, I don't necessarily want to spend a ton of money on something, but I do want to like reap the benefits of it.
Yeah. What got me even thinking along those lines was when I had the wounds that were still open and I was healing, my doctor recommended Juven. And it's like got amino acids and it's designed for like helping wounds to heal. And I didn't love it. Like I just didn't love the flavor of it. But every day, twice a day, I took it religiously, and I think it really helped speed up that process. So it
Yeah.
got me thinking along the lines of, oh, maybe there are supplements or things we can take for different issues that crop up in our lives.
Well, and I think, systematically, we sometimes need something. Our bodies are lacking something that it needs support in. I've actually recommended Juven to somebody else that had an open wound. So your sacrifice of taking it every day did not go unnoticed. Um, there,
Angela, thank you.
um, but yeah, sometimes like systematically, we have symptoms that show themselves, but there's something happening in like the core of our body that needs help. And
Right. And if our body is focused on something, right? Like if all the energy is going to some sort of healing, some sort of production, something else may be neglected, or you're right.
yeah,
We
or
can
we
just
might
help it a
just
little bit.
need something different. As we age, we need something different.
But I just think there's so much value in sharing and having these conversations, right? Like I feel like once upon a time this was sort of private and you'd be too embarrassed to admit like, oh, I'm taking collagen or something. But
Yes.
no shame in my game.
I just started listening to this podcast and I'll let you guys know how it is. I should have it done by next week. It's a Mel Robbins podcast, but it's about fitness and eating and just like the whole science of how females age. And the quote of the doctor, I think the doctor's name is Dr. Sims. She says in this the beginning of this podcast that women are not just small men. Like there's
Yeah.
fundamentally at the core just a totally different dynamic of things that are happening in there for our whole life. And like the science, the muscle building industry, and the nutrition industry, and all of these things are just based off of research that is just on men. And so she's really focused on she works with performance athletes. She's a professor at a number of universities, but I'm just starting it. So I'll let you guys know how it is. But I was like, what a perspective. So she's doing research in women's fitness and women's health more specifically to get the science behind it.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. More of that, please.
Yeah.
And Susie said, I read the book Good Energy by Dr. Casey Means, and she also recommended that women postmenopausal should be taking prenatal vitamins.
Ah, interesting.
Interesting. Susie, have you tried that? And have you had good results?
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Again, there is like a hormone game and all kinds of things happening inside of us that again, we probably need some of those things that are in there.
I love this conversation, women supporting women.
That's right. Holy cow. Thank you everybody for joining us today. I love that we had so many people chatting and chiming in. Super
Me
helpful.
too. Me too. I feel like this was the perfect thing to do on such a like dark and stormy day.
Can we just talk for like an hour instead of go to work?
Could we just keep going? Susie said, I am on them. And yes, I do feel better. Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for that great tip, Susie.
There we go. Okay. So hopefully you found one thing from this show today you can go do, whether it's try a new supplement or learn a new word.
Have the chutzpah to learn some new words or try a new supplement.
Good. Thank
You missed your chance there, Kristen. Mary said, I'm going through that now. My hormones are out of whack. Being a woman is tough. Mary, that is a huge understatement.
I'm going to go challenge the day with alacrity.
Yes, you go, girl. You go.
Really think hard about that. Alacrity does not roll off the tongue.
Nope. That's a challenging one.
All
All
right.
right. And in context too, like it's hard to determine what it means.
Yeah, that's tricky. I was thinking like alacritatious. I will have an alacritatious approach to my day. Is that right?
Mm,
Alacritous?
I don't know. But I do think that part of the reason that it scrambles my mind is, to me, it sounds like acrimonious. And I know acrimonious is definitely not a good thing, right? Like that's like argumentative and
Not the same.
yeah. So we want to approach this day with alacrity.
There we go.
All right, my friend. So good having this conversation with you. Viewers, thank you so much for joining. It has been a great pleasure. Go
Look at
out.
this chick.
Look at this girl. Look at this girl. What does your sweatshirt say, by the way?
Midwest is best, baby.
Midwest is best. Look at that, showing us your sweatshirt with alacrity. Thanks everyone for watching Coffee with Kristen and Tina. We'll see you next time.